name is Ettore Maggi. I'm the export area manager for the Northern European countries for Bellavista. Today with Peter, we're going to try three actually wonderful wines from Bellavista. Franciacorta means three things. Is a territory, is a wine, and also is a method of production. It's about an hour east from Milan. On the motorway, on the way to Venice, you cross Franciacorta, but you need to be careful not to blink, otherwise you miss it. Historically, it was populated by monks. So the local government said, well, instead of working for nothing, why don't you invest in your territory and you build infrastructures and road system, etc., and we lay you off taxes. So Franciacorta actually comes from Latin curte franca, which is a place where you don't pay taxes. It's a wine. Right? So you drink Franciacorta, you produce Franciacorta in Franciacorta using the Franciacorta method. When you say Franciacorta, means that this is a wine, sparkling, made with traditional method. Or, in this particular case, with a Franciacorta method, which is more or less identical of the Champenoise method that used to be, with a few different things. Like, for example, the minimum amount on the list is 18 months rather than 15 months. When you make rosé, you have to do the maceration on the skins. By law, you can't mix red and white. In the grape varieties that you can use in Franciacorta are Chardonnay, which is the vast majority of the grapes planted in Franciacorta. Secondly, you've got Pinot Noir and then Pinot Blanc. Pinot Blanc is a very, very tiny amount of grapes produced in Franciacorta. The reason why Franciacorta is not very popular is because of the 17 million bottles produced. You know, we drink 8% of it in Italy. So you only have 3 million bottles going outside of Italy. That's a niche. That's something that is actually quite difficult to find. Sparkling wines is so easy to pair it. To be honest, I mean, you can have it with almost everything, but yeah, I think I really like it as an aperitif with some finger food, some nice mozzarella, fresher things. Bellavista was created by the Moretti family, in this case Vittorio Moretti, the founder and owner of Bellavista, thought about Bellavista as a nice project because he was 32, he made good money in the construction industry. And he said, like many other Italians, I want to build my own villa and put a few vineyards around it and make some wine like my dad used to be making for myself, for my friends. But he said, from day one, I want to make the best sparkling wines of Italy. 40 years later, I think it's not far away. Fortunately, we only have had the same winemaker since day one. So there is also his philosophy behind it, which in a way created Bellavista and make famous Bellavista. So until he's happy to go ahead, Mattia Vezzola, the name is, we will continue this way. But it's also, the philosophy of the properties. There are three things that are very important, both for the winemaker and for the Moretti family. One is the naturality of the wine. So we don't like to do more than what we need to do, both in the vineyard, which is run organically now, and in the winery. We want to make wines that are very digestible. And also we want to be recognized as Italians. We are not trying to copy anyone. It would be nice if people one day during the blind tasting would recognize, oh yes, this is an Italian wine. This is an Italian sparkling wine.
So with all that being said, I'm going to open a bottle because I want to get tasting of this.
That's the Alma Grand Cuvée. Bellavista Alma Grand Cuvée.
A little bit of both. There we go. Oh, a tiny dribble out the top. Oh, well, such is life. Right, so tell me all about this.
You're starting with the most important wine because it's the wine that takes the message around of Bellavista. It's the wine that we need to replicate every year. It's a non-vintage. It's probably the most difficult wine to produce as well. In there, you have probably 50 to 60 different wines mixed together every year.
Explain that. How is it a blend of wines? I thought it's just the Grand Cru. It's just a wine.
Yeah, but you don't have a Chardonnay in there. Maybe you've got 30 different Chardonnays in that bottle. All the vineyard, the Chardonnays may arrive from all over the places in Franciacorta. So you've got vineyards on the flat, on few vineyards on altitude, on few vineyards on a soil, on a different soil, north exposition, south exposition. So you produce, say, 30 different Chardonnay. Each of them has something different.
How do you mean produce? Like, as in, surely all the grapes just come to the winery and they will just get chucked into a giant vat and away you go.
Yeah, but each grapes come from a different terroir.
Right.
And
they get blended together then, or do they get made separately and then blended?
You make them separately first.
So you end up like almost like you're making parcels of wine. You're making some wine from this little spot and from this little spot. You're not just chucking it all in and making a Chardonnay from all over like a normal wine would be, right?
Exactly. I mean, we do have 90 different vineyards.
Mm-hmm.
With 90 vineyards, we produce about 150 different wines. Okay? Right. So that means that maybe one day you cross Franciacorta, you go to that Chardonnay vineyard and you pick half of it. And then you come back into the other side, you go and pick another bit. And then you go back to that vineyard 3 days later, because that's when the maturation of that part of the vineyard tells you is the time, right? So we are trying to keep separate all little lots to produce as many variants as possible.
So you're not selling 150 Chardonnays. You're not making 150 wines and selling them all out there, like, because you could do, couldn't you? You could say, this is our Chardonnay from this vineyard and this is it. But instead you're saying, no, we're going to bring them together and blend them all, in different proportions to create that style each year? Do you just like add a bit more of this and a little bit less of that? And does that proportion change? Or is it a recipe that you could just do the same every year like a book?
Change. I mean, after so many years, we sort of have a clear idea of what we're doing. But yes, the percentage can slightly change. Like this one in particular is about 80% Chardonnay. The rest is Pinot Noir, and you have a splash of Pinot Blanc.
Why?
Why? Because we only have one vineyard of Pinot Blanc.
Okay.
So historically, this only vineyard ends up in Alma Grand Cuvée, and we don't use Pinot Blanc for any other wines. All Bellavista wines are driven by Chardonnay. Yeah, they're all dominated by Chardonnay.
Just tell me, I mean, that tastes delicious to me. It is super soft and super round, and it's exactly what you said. I can feel like a weight to it.
But normally, if you are looking for tasting terms that you can use in Franciacorta, normally they are related to white flowers, light fruit, like white peaches. Also, Bellavista is one of the most traditional wineries in terms of production because we use a lot of oak. So although in Alma Grand Cuvée there is not much of oak, but you're already starting to get the influence of it. So obviously the wines are a little bit more complex than just white flowers and fruit.
When? Is that individually with each of your little vineyards? You're putting all of those into oak, or are you bringing it all together and then putting it in oak? Like
No. Each vineyard, right. I pick the grape. We press it when we get to the winery. Some of the lots are fermented into barriques. PS, 228 liters from Bourgogne. Yeah. And other wines are fermented in stainless steel. Of the total production in Bellavista, you've got at least 40% that all passes into oak. You are in September, you pick the grapes, fermentation, then you leave the wine in oak all the way to springtime. In April, you get them all out. Imagine to be the winemaker on a Monday morning, going into the laboratory, and you've got 150 different bottles coming from these containers. This is the lot of from oak, this is the lot from stainless steel, this is a different oak. But all the barriques are very old. The average age of these barrels is 25 years of age.
Wow.
Which is crazy, because that means you've got some barriques that are 7 years of age, other ones are 30 and more years of age. It's really risky because you can get fungus and problems, on your oak.
Does that make a difference to the wine that you've got old barrels versus new barrels?
Well, no. The idea is for you to taste as less as possible the oak. you know, in your sparkling wine. So the more you use the barrel, the less flavor the barrel will give you back.
So the older it is, the less intense the flavor, the more subtlety. So that's when you have this. I just got this vision of this old Italian guy with like a cigarette hanging out his mouth in a laboratory with just like 150 bottles in front of him, going right. And you've got to put it all together, and each one will be different depending on not just the soil and the sunshine and the conditions, and the quality of the age of the vine. You're also saying the barrel will make a difference as well, like how old the barrel's gone into it. This is gorgeous. Can you I'm going to have a second glass because I freaking love it. I was asked this earlier by my housemate, and I said, so we're doing an Italian sparkling wine, and he said, oh, so Prosecco. Do you get that a lot?
Oh man, every day.
But it's not trying to be Prosecco, is it? It's not like you're competing in any way with the Prosecco market, or are you? As Bellavista, you're not interested?
No. I mean, Franciacorta was existing before Prosecco became famous, but we are not trying to do or to imitate Prosecco. Completely different thing, different method, different grapes, different everything. I mean, I've never heard a person ever say, please can I have a Prosecco made by so-and-so. Just give me a Prosecco. As long as it's Prosecco and it's sparkling, and it's fine. Are you having the La Scala?
Sorry, I've just got straight in, and that is the smell. Like, I liked the last one, but I've just entered a whole world of like flavor and aromas and richness. And oh my days, what is this?
With this one, we probably get closer to what are you used to or to drink, you know, or you relate to more traditional country. Yeah.
I'm not spitting that out. No, that's way too good. Oh.
Vintage is that 15?
Yeah, we've got the 2015 that it just arrived the other week. What you called it La Scala. Here it says it's the Bellavista Brut 2015. There's a little sticker up here that says La Scala. What is that? Why is that?
La Scala is the Milan Theatre, La Scala di Milano. That wine is the wine they use during the La Scala events. So for us is very prestigious, you know. On the 7th of December every year, when they do the opening of La Scala di Milano, this is the wine, you know, when you've got all the creme de la creme of Italy in front of you. This is a very lovely wine. What I'm really sad about, people don't know the potential of Bellavista because the wines are always consumed far too early. Mm-hmm. You should put this bottle down for 15 years and see what you get.
Really?
Absolutely amazing.
So we're comparing this to quality vintage champagne. We really are, like in that level, because good vintage, not bad, like poor quality vintage champagne will not age. No. So the cheap stuff. But if it's going for 15 years, I'm now putting it up there in a bracket of the things that I want to drink after 15 years, which is quite a high level. Oh,
Peter, I said 15 because I didn't want to say 20 or 25. I will be very confident on a Magnum, for example. Oh man.
Oh, I mean, that's amazing. Like my gut reaction is just like power and intensity and flavor and just rich and this like the sweet, ripe white fruits. But is that like what I love is the almond, kind of almondiness and pastry and biscuits and richness. And then like when you taste it, it just hangs around and around and around for like, my mouth is still watering. It just keeps going. It's so ridiculously like persistent. Why is that?
Well, without being sexist, right? This wine is a little bit more masculine than Alma Grand Cuvée. But because we reduced the amount of Chardonnay, before we had 80% of Chardonnay, so Chardonnay is the feminine part of the grapes. It's really gentle, it's really round and soft. Whether the Pinot Noir is a little bit more, you know, I've got more structure, more acidity. So here you've got maybe about 68% of Chardonnay and the rest is Pinot Noir. So here the Pinot Noir, you can really feel it. Yeah, more structure, more acidity. It's a little bit more nervous, this wine, compared to the previous one. But because this one also will go on in time even more.
So this vintage, this is from another like 150 bottles again, like loads of different parcels all pulled together.
Even this one is a cuvée of many different wines. Maybe not as many as Alma, but definitely 30, 40 different wines. And 30% of all these wines are fermented in oak. No, I go and get myself a bottle of wine. So I got this wine.
Which one? This one, the Saten. Go get it. Go get the bottle of wine. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it looks like he's wearing pajama bottoms. Yeah, I'm sure I saw some classic Scottish Czech kind of pajamas that he was wearing. I mean, it's what, middle of the afternoon, so I mean, fair play. So what I need to know now is, like, are you wearing pajama bottoms? Because I saw some checkered tartany kind of trousers you were wearing when you got up there to grab the bottle. Are you still in your pajamas?
I'm wearing loungy. I haven't got out of them the last 3 weeks.
Santé to you, and what is that in Italian?
Salute.
Of course, and in Scottish?
Cheers.
Okay, what does Saten mean?
Right, Saten is a fantasy name, but comes from silk. So it's the equivalent of Blanc de Blanc. Yeah? You can do Saten using only Chardonnay, or you can use up to 50% Pinot Blanc.
But of course, you can't use 50% Pinot Blanc because you've only got a tiny amount, so it's just not possible.
We only use Chardonnay in this case.
Okay.
So 100% Chardonnay. If we go back to what we said earlier, this is just the really gentle grape, yeah, the very feminine side of it. 35% of these wines are fermented in oak, yeah, so it's quite a rich wine. There is a technical differences of the Saten compared to all the other wines. So instead of having 6 atmospheres of pressure inside the bottle, here you only have 5 atmospheres. So less pressure inside the bottles should highlight even more the soft and gentle character of this wine.
Sorry, can you just translate that into English? Like, what do you mean by pressure in a bottle? How is that important to me? How does that relate to my mouth, to the way I mean, what do you mean?
Well, the gas developed by the bubbles inside the bottle, yeah, the force that pushes against the bottle, the glass, you know, that's your pressure. The less the pressure, the more round and soft the wine remains.
So that's why the mouth is a little bit less aggressive, a little bit less bubbly.
Less pungent, more gentle.
More subtle. Okay, that's the difference. Gotcha.
And for this reason, this wine is very good as an aperitif, yeah, and standing, you know, in the sunshine under an umbrella. It's really good with the risotto. Things like this, creamy stuff.
I love your pronunciation. Perfect. Great Scottish accent. This is like completely different to the last one in the sense that it's just so smooth, so like elegant. It just doesn't have the biscuitiness as the last. It's not as rich or pastry. It has a lovely elegance, but it's just not as...
Yeah, well, the biscuit is probably very much highlighted by the Pinot Noir, where this one, you only have Chardonnay. Yeah?
I get the masculine thing. That's what I get. I get the masculine, feminine thing. This makes more sense now. It's just like, it's so soft in the mouth. It just kind of falls and glides across. It's so smooth and it's just lovely. Yeah. This one's a delicate lady. That one's a bit more, which makes sense.
But talking about yachts, this is a wine that my boss drinks on his yacht in Sardinia, okay? Because one of his passions, you know, there are not only wines in his passion, but he also makes yachts, right? He's got a very small, what do you call it, cantiere, a very small company called Maxi Dolphin, right? And he's got a boat called Viriella, and that's what he drinks. So after even a race with other yachts, the party boat is the Viriella, which is the Moretti boat. And everyone tends to go there because they know there is Saten waiting for them.
So this is perfect. massive insider tip here that for those of you who are out there in Sardinia or will be at any point, keep your eyes open. Which yacht are they?
Viriella means Vittorio Mariella. Viriella.
They're the people to go and see for an after
man.
party every day. Like, I get it now. This is not like a vertical of all these different vintages or anything. It's just, I now get what you were talking about with the Grand Cru Alma Brut at the start. I get it. It's like sets the tone for the rest of the range, and then you can go to richness here and creaminess here and lightness, and it is like the best of all worlds is there, and then you can move away from that. So it really shows like a range, which now I'm understanding more once I've tried them side by side, which is not something you normally do, to be honest. What are the three kind of key factors that you need to know about Franciacorta, about Bellavista?
I don't want to sound boring, but I will have to repeat the 3 points that are the key 3 points for us. Being Italian. We want to be recognized as an Italian producer. Longevity, because it's not a personal challenge to arrive, in 20 years. To arrive there is a philosophy of production behind, and that's what we want to maintain. The answer you get it in 20 years' time, but there is so much work to arrive in 20 years' time in perfect condition. And the third one is naturality. We're spending so much time in the vineyards to create a produce that is healthy without being invasive.
And if I was to pick up a bottle of Franciacorta Bellavista, which one should I be picking up?
If I would choose a bottle to start with, I would probably start with the Saten, which is quite unique to Franciacorta. It very much represents what Franciacorta is. It's like in Scotland, when you try the whiskey, when you are introduced to whiskey, you should start with the easy drinking, the lowlands, not going immediately on this medicine they produce in the west of Scotland. Well, the reason I think, if you enjoy sparkling wines, is a very good alternative. And I'm not saying that you should ditch champagne, because, we that work in the business, we all love champagne, but, we enjoy trying different things. So trying a bottle of Franciacorta is like maybe tasting a champagne by elsewhere, with a little bit of sunshine. And you go into a different mode, because as you say, you move to a different country. We have the Mediterranean influence, although we are very close to the Alps, but all these little things contribute to have a different experience.
Massive thank you to you, to spending all your time in your pajamas and like coming down to your laptop and talking to me and running me through your amazing range.
It was a pleasure tasting with you. Even if it was virtually, we do something still real with a real bottle and real glass. I hope you enjoy Bellavista, and thank you for having me.